Hey Dalton, how are you?
Good. Can you hear me?
I can. Can you hear me?
Yes. Sounds great. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing okay. How are you?
I'm great. It's Monday, right?
It is Monday. Yes.
Well, that's great. Hey, thank you so much for joining me.
Well, thank you. Thank you
Yeah,
very much.
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Um, so tell me a little bit about what you do and what your business is.
I listened to enough of your podcast to know that question was coming. So,
Heck yeah.
so I figured I'd tell you. I'm a mobster. That's what I do.
I
People
like it.
people pay me protection money, and I get guys with guns to protect them.
There you go. Right on. Right on. What does that entail?
Um, Mostly paperwork, but
There you go.
I'm a consumer bankruptcy attorney primarily, although I have filed for some smaller businesses.
Yeah.
Uh, but essentially, what happens, if you think about we think about the law all the time, but we don't really think about what we actually do,
Yeah.
what lawyers actually do. And really, what we decide is who gets the guns pointed at them, really.
Yeah, that's true. I interviewed a lawyer once and it was really fun to talk with him. So I loved it.
Interviewing a lawyer again, so I guess that's.
Oh my goodness. That's
Uh,
so
no, I mean, the the way the law works is, well, maybe the best way to illustrate it is a story I told, or that happened to me when I started practicing. This was 26, 27 years ago.
yeah, yeah.
uh, I was back in the day, I was a public defender in Panguitch, Utah,
I love Penguich.
which is, it's a little bit like being public defender of Mayberry. I mean,
I love it.
it was really low key.
Yeah.
And Wallace Lee, who's now a district court judge in the state of Utah, was the prosecutor. And I called Wally up one day and I said, "Hey, Wally, guess what I did today?" He said, "What did you do?" And I said, "I was feeling a little low on cash. So I got out, I wrote a note, and I got a couple of guys with guns, and I had them take it over to the bank. And they just brought me back this money, and it was awesome."
Oh my
And he
goodness.
started freaking out because he knew me. He thought, "Oh man, did Winward really do that? Did he really send somebody over to?"
Yeah, that's awesome.
And he was freaking out. I said, "Wally, it's a garnishment. That's all I did." And if you
Oh,
think about it, that's all a garnishment is we
right.
write on a piece of paper, "Hey, I want this money." They
Yeah,
send
yeah, yeah.
guns to the bank and they take it out of your account and they bring it to me. And that's how it goes.
Right.
That's what we do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
They're not a joke either, man. Those garnishments aren't a joke.
no, they aren't a joke. And I'm really not the bank robbing type. So I got more over into the protection racket, which is the consumer bankruptcy stuff,
Yeah.
where I
Yeah.
get to turn the guns back on the people going into the bank and taking your money.
Heck yeah. Heck
so
yeah.
so the clients, they kick me a little juice, and I go in with my bigger guns, which is the federal government, and tell the little state government garnishments to pound sand, and it all goes away. I mean, that's really,
Right.
I mean,
Right.
overly simplistic, but yeah, that's how it happens.
Kind of just like a high level view. So let me ask you this question, and I don't know if you can answer it or not, but is bankruptcy, I don't know if common is the right word, but is it more common than not?
Common, common's hard. I mean,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
any,
realize that.
anything that has, Utah, over the last, we had about 20,000, Utah had about 20,000 bankruptcies in 2010 and 11.
Mm. Okay.
We're down to the 10,000 range right now.
Oh wow. So bankruptcies in Utah at least are trending down.
They trended down since the financial crisis in
Wow.
2009.
Yeah. And we were
But
kind of talking about this before the podcast about how things were going to start, things might change a little bit. Do you see that changing?
we're going to trend up.
We're going to trend up.
We've actually trended down since COVID started because all of the collection efforts stopped.
Oh, wow. Yeah, a lot of a
So,
lot of
so,
things.
so, so when no one's showing up with guns to take your stuff, you don't need any protection, right?
Yes, I think that's the perfect way to, because I'm an accountant, and every once in a while I have to deal with the IRS, and so showing up with guns is like a perfect way to describe
Right,
the
right.
federal government for sure.
And guess who I get to turn the guns on sometimes?
The IRS.
Oh, it's so much fun.
Oh yeah, that would be fun because gosh, it feels so good to stick it to the IRS every once in a while, man.
No,
Because
actually,
they're frustrating.
weirdly enough, if you file your taxes on time, this just for everybody out there, file your taxes on time.
Hmm.
File your taxes on time, because if you file your taxes on time, 3 years after, if they haven't levied and taken everything, I can file and wipe them out.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's sweet. Oh my goodness. So how
So
did you get into the bankruptcy lawyer, that whole gig? How did you get into that? How did you get started?
right back before you were born. I don't know. I mean,
Probably. I'm only 26, so probably.
definitely back before you were born.
Yes.
So you have no idea who Adnan Khashoggi is.
No.
Yes. Okay. So Adnan Khashoggi. Well, have you heard of the Triad Center where KSLTV is?
Yes. I've heard of that. Yeah.
It's called Triad.
Yeah.
Do you know why it's called Triad?
No, I don't.
It's because Adnan Khashoggi, it was when he first started investing, Adnan Khashoggi came into Salt Lake, and he was going to go to Salt Lake, Houston, and some other city. So there's 3 cities. So that was the try, and the ad was for Adnan Khashoggi.
Oh wow.
He was going to pour all of his Arab oil riches into Salt Lake, Houston, and one other place. Got tons and tons of loans, got all kinds of money to do everything, and then he bolted.
Oh geez. Holy cow.
So when I was in law school in the mid 80s, I got my first clerking job for a downtown law firm, and my job as the young clerk was to go into the file room and try and find documents that pertain to the case we had in the Triad bankruptcy, because it was like one of the biggest bankruptcies ever in the state of Utah back then.
Holy cow.
Probably still is.
Yeah.
One of the bigger ones.
Yeah.
And so my job was to go into the file room and try and find documents about AK Florida properties, AK for Adnan Khashoggi. He had some property in Florida, and our clients had an interest in that property. So we were fighting about that. And so I went into the room, and I'll never forget, because I found the file cabinet with newspaper clippings about Adnan Khashoggi. This is how old I am. We have newspaper clippings. Paper files in a room full of file cabinets.
Yeah, right.
And so I pulled out the paper files, right?
Yeah.
And I'm reading the newspaper clippings, and it's oil sheik bringing his millions to downtown Salt Lake, and it's going to help. And then when he stiffed everybody, the headlines changed, and it's drug runner or arms dealer Adnan Khashoggi.
Holy cow.
Apparently he made most of his money running guns, not doing oil.
Oh geez, holy cow.
Interestingly enough, his yacht got repoed and eventually got at one point owned by Donald Trump. So there's that weird connection to now too.
Oh wow. Holy cow. So his yacht ended up being owned, like Donald Trump bought it, or
Yeah, Trump bought his yacht at one point.
holy cow. That's awesome. So so this guy files for bankruptcy, and this is this is the beginning of your story.
Yeah, I started doing bankruptcy then. Um, the savings and loan crisis it happened right then too. I mean,
Oh
I know
geez.
that's history for you, but
Yeah.
I mean, it was my life. But yeah, the savings and loan place, they deregulate. I mean, it was a little bit like 2008. They deregulated the savings and loans, and they were giving lots of loans on real estate. And we were
Wow.
dealing with the thing with the Osmond studio up in Provo.
Oh wow. Holy
So,
cow.
so I started doing kind of the bigger corporate stuff when I was in the downtown law firm. Um, I worked for a law firm. I don't know if you know who Rocky Anderson is. Do you know Rocky?
I've heard of that name before. Yeah, I've heard of that name.
He was mayor of Salt Lake,
Oh, okay. That's probably where I've heard it then.
and Rocky was one of the partners in the law firm that I was hired at coming out of law school. And he and some of the other partners didn't get along well, and the whole thing blew up.
Oh
And the
gee.
associates, get shunted out. And so I went to Cedar City for a while. And
Okay.
all I'm going to say about Southern Utah is there's a reason that they call it Dixie. I'm glad to be back up north.
Yes, sir. That's right.
Yankee at heart.
Yeah,
But
that's right. I love it.
that would be a whole nother podcast. But yeah, so I, I went down and did a little bit of everything, but I was still doing bankruptcies even then, but more of the consumer variety.
Okay. Okay. Did you think you were going to be a bankruptcy lawyer the whole time, or while you were in law school, or did you think?
I was going to be an English professor. I was even.
Oh, sweet, an English professor.
That's what I wanted to be. But
Oh, right on.
my undergraduate degree was in English, and
Holy cow.
I was looking at going to grad school to be an English professor.
Wow.
My dad
What?
had been an educator.
Yeah, holy cow. What made you switch? That's a big switch from English professor. That's your path to bankruptcy lawyer. Did you switch early enough to get into law school and go, or was there a period and then you went back?
Now here's what happened. I was looking at what to do in college. I was a junior. And I didn't have any direction. I was thinking I want to be an English professor. And my dad has spent his entire life as an educator, and I don't really think he wanted me to go into education.
That's fair.
I think he knew enough about me to know that it would probably drive me nuts not having any juice at all to deal with the bureaucracy and the stuff that happens in public education.
Mm-hmm.
But on the university level or even the high school or I mean, I don't think it matters the level. There's a level of bureaucratic crap that you have to deal with. Not that we don't do that in the law too, but
Sure.
as the attorney, you at least have a little bit of control.
Sure. Holy.
So my dad called me up. It was like I can't even remember when it was. It was like the fall semester. He said, "Why don't you go take the LSAT?" And I said, "I don't have any money." He said, "I'll pay for it." I said, "Oh, okay." He paid for it. I went and took the LSAT, and I got my results back. And I thought, "Oh, if they're that high, maybe I should go." And so I applied on the last day to BYU and the U of U.
Holy cow.
And got admitted to both and ended up going to the U. And then fell into this job in the downtown law firm, then went to the South and saw, so I got to see the law operate on a more of a corporate level.
Yeah.
Got to see it on a real individual level in southern Utah because that's all there was down there. There wasn't really,
Right.
especially in Panguitch, let me tell you.
Yeah, I've been to Penguin, small town. Like, probably didn't do a whole lot with corporations there.
And I came back up here, and it was it, bankruptcy fit what I always wanted to accomplish with the law, which was because I got that sense really quickly doing the corporate stuff is people got priced right out of being able to have good legal representation.
Oh yeah.
And, and money dictated so much of what gets done. I mean,
Yeah.
money runs the show. I mean,
Yep.
you could probably answer everything going on just by saying, okay, who's profiting, and it'll explain about 95% of everything you see.
Yeah. That is a very good insight because it's probably really true. I'm gonna have to go down the rabbit hole on that one later because that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, no, it is. It is really interesting. Um, so, yeah, I started doing bankruptcy almost exclusively in 98, 99.
Yeah. Wow.
For a while there, I had the entire 11th floor of the Wells Fargo building in downtown Ogden.
Holy cow.
It was awesome.
Wow. Yeah,
And
that's impressive.
I love that floor.
Holy cow. Wow. So let me ask you this. So take us through like the process of bankruptcy. So first of all, how does someone get to the point of bankruptcy?
Okay. Usually, I mean, you're talking to me, but that's just because you're really nice. Most people really don't want to talk to me.
Sure. Sure. I'm with you.
You can tell when you go to the store and they're all like, "Oh, yeah, I don't want to see that guy." They don't want their family to know. Who is that? I don't know.
I have no idea.
Some strange guy. I don't know.
That's awesome.
No. So basically, if it weren't for three things, I don't think anyone would ever talk to me. Divorce or domestic problems always screw up people's finances. I mean,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
that's it. Medical stuff would wipe people out.
Yeah.
So health issues, divorce, or lost job or income.
Sure.
And there's always, interestingly enough, there's always a lag. The job will get lost. They'll stumble along until they just can't do it anymore. They'll get divorced. They'll stumble along until they can't do it anymore. They'll get sick and stumble along until they can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
And then they call me and say, help me. And I say, yeah, we can do that, usually.
There you go. So, you know what's so funny? I used to work with a lot of like credit reports and things. Like I could see, I worked as a finance manager for a car dealership for a long time.
Oh, which one?
I worked for Performance Honda, and then I worked for a Tim Daly Nissan.
Okay.
And so I got to see people's credit because we would be extending them loans, or at least I was the mediator between them and a bank, whatever bank we'd go with. And medical bills were always the one that hit me the hardest. Like those were always hard to see, like if somebody came in with delicate credit, and just seeing like massive amounts of medical debt. Like that was always super sad for me to see. How do you, I don't know, that might be a big question, but how does that feel like when you see medical bills, or how do you navigate that whole field?
Yeah, it's pretty easy, actually.
Yeah.
I used to joke around with people and say, before I was a mobster, they'd ask me what I was, and I'd say, I'm the National Healthcare Plan.
Right on, right on.
I mean, that's, you can't pay, you don't have insurance, you go to the ER, you rack up a crap ton of money, and you come and see me, and I make it go away. I mean,
Yeah.
that's kind of how it works.
Right, right. Yeah, because once you declare bankruptcy, they can't come after you for any more money.
They, interestingly enough, right there with, just to make sure I'm timely, right there with the post office, bankruptcy law is right there in the Constitution too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Holy cow.
Congress is supposed to pass laws for bankruptcy because historically people couldn't pay their bills, they'd lock them up, and that led to a lot of people being locked up.
Right.
And then create a really negative cascade effect where nothing good came of it. And you have Charles Dickens novels. I mean, that's kind
of. Oh yeah, no kidding. Holy cow. Seriously.
So bankruptcy is designed to give people a fresh start because you're not doing the economy or your neighbors or anybody else any good if you're just so buried in debt that you can't even function.
Yeah.
So the idea is to give you a fresh start. And that's what the law is designed to do. We have two consumer options, which are Chapter 7 and Chapter 13.
Yeah.
Chapter 7 lets you out of all your debt based off of your property. And Chapter 13 lets you out of all of your debt based off of your income.
That's interesting. I've dealt with both of them, but I've never heard it explained that way. That makes a lot of sense. So is that why somebody would choose one over the other?
There's a lot of reasons to choose one over the other.
Okay.
I think it would just depend. But Chapter 7, so you're entitled to keep certain things that are exempt. And each state has their own exemptions. And the bankruptcy law incorporates each state's exemptions. It's a little bit more complicated than that, but if you've lived in Utah for at least 2 years, you've got Utah's exemptions.
Okay.
And Utah's exemptions are, well, this is what you get to keep. All your clothing, all your beds and bedding, refrigerator, washer, dryer, stove, microwave, freezer, sewing machine, classic Utah exemption, a year's supply worth of provisions.
Yeah, right on. Okay. Cool.
$42,700 equity in the house per individual. So if you have a husband and wife, you've got about $85,000 in equity.
Yeah.
$3,000 equity in the car, $1,000 in basically other household furnishings, $500 for books, animals, or musical instruments, $500 for heirlooms or items of sentimental value, $5,000 for tools of your trade. All that stuff's exempt. Social Security is exempt.
Yeah.
VA benefits are exempt. There's a lot of stuff that they can't touch.
Yeah. Okay.
And most of the clients that file Chapter 7 don't have anything. There is no property.
Sure.
The big thing that the bankruptcy, basically they'll appoint a trustee over, you file and you create an estate. Just like when somebody dies.
Yeah.
And an estate's created. Somebody files bankruptcy, we create an estate.
Yeah.
The court appoints a trustee over the estate to see who gets stuff. Clients keep their property that's exempt. The trustee takes anything that he can to sell and uses that to pay the unsecured creditors. The secured creditors, like the car loans and the houses, the priority debt and the student loan debt, that doesn't get wiped out.
Right. Yeah, you can't run from student debt.
Not unless
federal.
Not unless things go really different in this election in 2020.
Yeah, no kidding though. But right now
right now, it's not going anywhere. There was
Yeah.
actually legislation proposed uh, in the House to put student loan debt back into the bankruptcy game.
Yeah. Geez.
Uh,
I don't know. My opinion on that is the federal government should just get out of student loans, but that's just me. I don't know.
well, again, back to following the money.
Yeah. Yeah. Who's profiting? Holy cow. I'm going to remember that one for a long time.
Because, yeah, I mean, a lot of the banks are profiting because basically they got these guaranteed loans from
Right.
the government. And the other thing is that the government has also allocated the student loan money for its budgetary purpose. So it's actually a backdoor tax.
Yeah. Holy cow. So at what point, so that's kind of like from there. So, but at what point do people, I mean, is it different or do you have like advice on at what point somebody should come and see you or not?
Weirdly, sooner is better than later.
Okay.
But everybody comes to me later. So
But how soon? Like how soon do you like like if someone loses their job and they don't have and doesn't look like there's any end in sight and they've gone 1 or 2 months. Do they come before that 1 or 2 months, or do they come right then? Or because that's always the timing is just kind of weird for me. Like, do you wait so long, or do you,
and
you know what I mean?
the
Do you
time,
try to avoid bankruptcy as long as you can?
well, everybody has their own pain threshold,
Sure.
what they can handle.
Yeah, that's true.
Financial pain, there really is a different pain threshold. No, I think that um, when you know it looks hopeless, if you can see the hopeless a mile down the road, that's not a bad time to come in.
Yeah. But no, I mean that's a good point though, because I mean a lot of people you can tell as a you know between in your family situation, you can tell like, hey, this isn't going to be good if we keep doing this, or I can't make this pivot right now or something like that. I mean you can tell, right?
You can tell, and I can usually tell. I've seen enough cases now.
Yeah.
I'm easily probably in 5 digits now of cases that I've filed, so I've done a lot.
Oh wow. Holy cow.
Um, yeah, I think that, but usually I prefer to have people come in and see me sooner rather than later, because sometimes I can give them advice to help them avoid it.
Yeah.
Uh,
And you can kind of help them navigate through the whole process.
if we have to go that way, and prepare if we have to go through the process.
Mm.
One of the things that the bankruptcy trustees love to take in Chapter 7 cases, because all of my clients are poor, is the earned income credit and additional child tax credit on the.
Yeah.
They get the big tax refund back, and the trustee swoops in and takes that and pays back.
Oh.
Uh,
Yeah.
so timing becomes really, really important when you're filing Chapter 7.
Yeah.
You don't want to just haul off and file if you're getting 2/3 of your income in February when you get your tax refund.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
but the 13 actually gives me a lot of things that I can do that I can't do with the 7, and I really like it.
Mm.
If you're upside down in your car and you've had it for 2.5 years, and you're making under the median income, which is most of my clientele, even if you're making above, I can do it. But the median income, for example, for an individual person, 64,000 or 68,000, it keeps changing. But
Yeah.
if you're making less than 68,000 a year, I can do a 13 and only pay the stuff I want to pay,
Ooh.
which is really nice because you want to pay your mobster because he's protecting you from everybody else.
Right? Holy cow.
And you can, and it's really
Yeah.
nice. You don't have to come up with any money or anything. You just,
Right.
you just slip me a little.
Holy cow. No, I love it, man. That's so awesome.
But
Um,
yeah, so what'll happen is in a 13, say you had you got your 2008 Subaru that you traded in and you're upside down in, and you got a 7-year loan on it. And you've been paying on it for 3 years and you're still $8,000 upside down on it.
yeah.
I can file the 13 and pay just what the Subaru is worth rather than what you owe on it.
Mm,
And that usually pays for me and then some.
yeah,
And I can lower the interest rate if you got nailed on a high interest loan.
yeah.
And I can wipe out any debt a lot of debt that you're ordered to pay in a divorce decree. You can't get rid of child support or alimony, but if
Yeah.
you're ordered in a divorce decree to pay debt, I can get rid of that.
Holy cow.
I can't. The law can. I mean,
The law can.
I can help you.
But like knowing that, that's why it's important to have somebody with experience, right? Is they
I
know.
can pay back child support and get it current over time rather than whatever ORS is taking out of your check against your will.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah. I've seen those come through on credit reports too. You're like, dang, man, you know what? Don't put this money down on a car. Go take care of all this other stuff. I used to tell people that all the time. I used to be like, hey, don't put that money down here. Like, go take care of something different. And
Well, see, and I think we're going to see a whole bunch of cases in a few months because, they did the COVID thing on the mortgage.
Yeah.
People could, hey, not pay your mortgage. It wasn't a forgiveness. It was a forbearance.
Yeah.
And so when the forbearance is done, it all comes due.
Yeah, I know. And you know what? I've been blessed to be able to like continue to pay my mortgage, but I know some people who've told me who think it's like a forgiveness thing, and I'm like, no way, man. The Pied Piper is coming back for you, man. Like they're coming.
And then they can call me. I can put them in a 13, and I can take what they're behind on the mortgages, spread it out over 5 years.
Yeah. So now a 13 is kind of like, so explain a 13 for those who don't know it, and for me, because I kind of have an idea, but I've never really had it explained.
No, that's fine. So the seven, they look at your property. If there's no property to be sold, 3 months, you're out of debt. You're on your way. But you've re-signed on your car loan, so you're still stuck with that. And you're still stuck with your home loan and everything else. But
yeah.
13, we look at your income, and it's kind of like doing your tax returns in reverse. We look at your income, and if you're below a certain level, we don't even have to fill out the form. If you make more, then we start taking deductions, and we have allowed deductions, interestingly enough, right off the IRS guidelines for payback if you owe taxes.
Oh.
And so we calculate out what you have to pay back based off of your income. If you're below median, you don't have to pay anything back.
Wow.
The only thing you have to pay back is what you want to pay, which is usually your car loan, your house loan.
Yeah.
Child support, you have to pay it.
Right.
You can also pay back taxes. So if somebody's behind on their taxes, we can make that up over time in a Chapter 13.
Wow.
Without having to deal with the IRS, without having to do anything funky.
Yeah. Holy cow. So what made you want to start your own? So I'm assuming, since we talked a little bit before, you started your own firm.
I started my own firm in 1994.
Oh wow. So you branched off from, your other gig and started your own firm. What made you want to start your own firm? Versus working for someone else or anything?
I didn't have a lot of choice at the time, and And
Wow. Yeah.
said, okay, screw it, I'll do it myself, and started. Um, it's
Yeah.
a much longer, more sordid story than that, but yeah.
Sure, sure. So, but I hear that a lot with like business owners, right? So, one of the couple things I hear all the time are like, it wasn't my first choice to start a business, or like it was, it came out of nowhere, it was very sudden. Um, how did that feel, like going out on your own and starting your own business? Like, how did that make you feel? And like, what was your thought process going into knowing that you were going to help people in bankruptcy or with bankruptcy, right?
Oh well, that part's been fun. I mean
Yeah.
that's the part that makes it fun and easy to get to work. Um, Interestingly enough, I've got a bit of the entrepreneur bug, so I don't do just my bankruptcy practice. I'm always trying different kinds of things.
Okay.
Some successfully, some not.
That's
Uh,
yeah.
like right now, I've got a business that's been going about 4 or 5 years, just kind of rolling along. But it's on the creditor side of the bankruptcy, uh,
Oh.
because actually, believe it or not, there's money to be had in bankruptcy. I mean, a lot of people see the bankruptcy notices, throw them away.
Oh.
If they know what they're doing, they could potentially make some money off of it.
Yeah.
Um, so it's a little bit tough because I do mostly consumer stuff, but I do have a company that will actually go and buy bankruptcy claims and collect on them and pay you money if you collect on them.
Oh wow.
Um, so
So you have a few different businesses. That's
yeah,
pretty sweet. Yeah, that's pretty sweet. Did did you how many other side gigs do you have?
right now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Uh, so I have my main law firm. Uh, we file probably between 3 and 4% of all the bankruptcy cases in the state of Utah.
Wow. Holy cow.
Just our little. There's 5 of us, and we do a ton.
Yeah, I bet. Holy crap. That's awesome. Holy cow.
Um, and then I have the Recoup, which is the business that deals with consumer or creditor claims in bankruptcy.
Yeah.
Um, we're hoping to take that nationwide here in a little bit. So far, we've been in Washington, Oregon, Nevada, Utah, so around.
Yeah, holy cow. That's
Uh,
awesome. So you're just gonna scale it and go nationwide.
try and scale it.
Yeah, holy
Software guy. I lost my software guy, so.
cow.
I, so
Like what like a website guy?
no, we actually had software for so that they could. It was web-based software
Oh.
where the creditors input their data and
Oh.
and we can take it and go with it. It, it still works, but we need a little bit more development. And he got a corporate gig with an unnamed financial company, and their conflict of interest rules won't let him.
Oh, those dang conflict of interest, those do not compete clauses.
You know.
Holy cow.
So so we have that. I've been doing off and on publishing, independent publishing
Oh wow. Holy cow.
for about 10 years now. We put out my wife is a writer uh, and a novelist and artist,
Wow.
and we put out um, a bunch of novels, bunch of poetry books, audiobooks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Looking to do more, but that's just a really hard gig.
Yeah, holy cow. So tell me about that. Tell me more. How did you get into so you said your wife, is a writer and artist, things like that. But what made you think of starting your own publishing company? What goes into that? Holy cow.
Because because publishing is stupid. Uh,
Yeah,
I,
I've heard they're not the best to work with sometimes, right?
um, it was really more looking at where things were 10 years ago and realizing that books were going to go digital. I mean, as you can see behind me, I've got a nice little library.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it. Yeah.
But no, I knew the books were going digital, uh, and I thought, and so I wanted to jump on that before the whole Kindle, and then Amazon and the Kindle stuff and all that.
Yeah.
Amazon kind of messed it up a little bit, but it's interesting because any kind of entrepreneur effort, you end up readjusting and refocusing and saying, okay, no, this is where I want this to go.
Yeah.
And um, the publishing arm was more a labor of love kind of thing than uh,
Sure.
oh, I'm going to make my millions publishing. No, it was never about that.
Sure.
It was more about certain voices probably need to be heard, and you need to be able to create an avenue for those voices to get out. And I think that's what small presses and small publishing companies can do.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you can have it's kind of the underdog kind of thing, where the literary voice isn't dictated by the person with the loudest megaphone
Yeah. And the money.
and the money. Uh, but you got to have money to play that game. So,
Right.
so
Right.
I do a lot of bankruptcy work.
Yeah.
But I'm always looking at ways to do that. I'm
Yeah.
also currently kind of a silent investor working with a video and audio producer here in Ogden who's trying to get his own little studio started up.
Yeah.
Um, and doing video production work. And uh, in conjunction with that, we're doing a little bit of a nonprofit gig where we're trying to warn people about uh, the health warnings on prescription medications.
Oh, wow.
Kind of along the lines of what the Harvard Alcohol Project did for alcohol,
Yeah.
what a lot of the tobacco lobbying did for tobacco. Uh, we really shouldn't have prescription drug ads on our TV. That should be something between you and your doctor, and especially because
Yeah.
a lot of those drugs can kill you. We shouldn't be advertising those to our kids and to our family.
Holy cow. That is so, wow, that's so interesting. So you have a nonprofit organization, just so I understand this correctly, that is set up to like combat those prescription drug commercials on TV. So things like I don't know. I haven't heard.
Yeah,
I
America,
honestly though, I haven't watched a whole lot of TV in like the past 2 years, 3 years.
yeah,
So
but if you watch it, almost every one will have a prescription drug, and they'll list off the long side effects, all while showing you pleasant pictures. Um,
yeah, it is kind of weird, huh? I used to make fun of that kind of stuff for a long time. It's like, take this drug, and the only side effect is death.
yeah,
And you're
yeah,
like, oh, okay,
it's
cool.
like
Where
the
do I sign
worst
up?
freaking outcome. I mean, that's, but yeah, and
Wow.
and my wife has been harmed by some of these medications, and that's kind of how we got involved in it.
Wow, interesting.
And
So what's kind of the research behind the effects of putting prescription drug ads online, or I mean on like commercials and stuff?
it's really it's just like tobacco.
Wow. Holy cow.
It's just like alcohol.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're selling people an idea, and they think that the drug's going to do one thing, even though it doesn't.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and I've always thought it was weird because, like, because back to the thing, follow the money. Like, I know that they don't advertise drugs that nobody would use, right? So, like, are they? It almost seems like they're advertising these drugs, knowing that a lot of people have these, ailments or matters going on, right? And so they're like, I've always wondered first, like, how do they get that information? Like, how do you know that there's millions of men who need Viagra or whatever, right? Or other drugs like that. But you know what I mean? Like, how do they even know that?
Um, well, it's marketing.
Jeez, that's crazy.
I mean, interestingly enough, the American Medical Association is against pharmaceutical advertising on television.
Wow, I did not
But
know that.
but
Holy cow.
so yeah, I mean, there's this thing called black box warnings. Have you heard of those?
No,
On
I have. No, I haven't.
medication? It's essentially the prescription medication. That's the name of our organization. It's Black Box Warning Initiative.
Oh wow, I'm writing
I
that
mean,
down.
we're just starting it out. It's blackboxwarn.org is just our going to be our website. We've got just a holding page right now, but
Yeah, yeah.
we're getting ready to release. So the video producer that I'm now helping in his side business or in his business, he's the one that's done a lot of the video work for us. So we actually have a series of about 6 videos trying to combat the narrative that the prescription drug things
Yeah.
forced.
Holy cow. Yeah. Because your point is that advertising those drugs, like, so some people might end up taking that drug because they saw it on TV, they go ask their doctor about it, and it actually, and then the doctor maybe prescribes it, and it actually does more harm than good, and it probably wouldn't have gotten to that point if they wouldn't have seen it on TV.
Yeah, they wouldn't have been pushing the doc so hard for it.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And I mean, I hear stories about that all the time. I haven't experienced it personally, but I see people. They do their research and they go online, and then they're like, "Hey, doc, I want to try this," and then they just go, and the doctor just kind of, "All right, whatever, here you go," right?
Right. And so really there's two main points that we're trying to accomplish, because we're trying to keep, anytime you're doing any kind of entrepreneurial effort, I remember when I started out my bankruptcy practice, I try and keep it in mind every time I do that, is I try and keep what I'm doing really small
Okay.
and say, okay, I remember when I first started out, I thought, okay, if I can just file 3 cases a month, I can survive, and I can make this thing work, right?
Sure.
That's when I was just by myself. If I do 3 cases a month, I can make this thing
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
work. And within 5-10 years, in the early 2000s, I think my highest month was 120
Wow. Holy cow.
cases. Now we're right around 30. I've had my 2 slowest months just this last June and July because of COVID.
Yeah.
And that was only 17 each month.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, with COVID, with no one collecting, right? Then,
Yeah, there was no reason to, and I was telling people to wait.
Oh,
They're not coming after you. We don't know what your job's going to be doing. We don't know anything. So we're
yeah,
just
yeah, yeah. You don't
try
know.
this out and see what it does. But
Yeah, see what happens. Yeah.
the law will be there when we're through with it, and we can wipe it all out then. I mean,
Yeah, we can kind of
that's
see
kind
what's
of
going on. Yeah.
kind of approach. But
Yeah.
really quickly, because there was something I wanted to say about the bankruptcy stuff, but
Go ahead.
the black box warning thing is really near and dear to my heart too, because you're talking about it from an entrepreneur standpoint. We created the videos so that there's this emotional impact, but the idea is to say, look, get these ads off TV. If it's
Yeah.
not good for cigarettes and tobacco, or for tobacco and alcohol, then it should be the same for prescription drug medications. Maybe even more so, because that's something that you need professional advice on whether you should even be putting it in your body.
Right.
Let
Holy
alone getting
cow.
from ads on TV.
Jeez.
Kind of a sub-corollary of that is we should really have more time with our doctors to discuss the ramifications of the drugs that we're putting into our body.
Wow. Yeah.
And the other thing, the black box warning is a lot like the Surgeon General's warning for prescription medication. You know how the Surgeon General's warning shows this, shows that on the cigarettes or the alcohol.
Yeah. Like this product is known to cause cancer or something like that.
Yeah, stuff like that. Everybody knows that. But the black box warnings are much more in depth, much broader for each prescription medication.
Wow.
And just like tobacco, it's only the stuff that comes out after the drug's been put into the wild.
Right. Yeah, because you really don't. I mean, they do a lot of testing, but you really don't know until you go.
Actually, that would be a subcategory, but this is a little bit too removed, I think, for just a popular movement that we want to accomplish. But
Okay.
Clinical trials aren't released.
Whoa. Seriously?
Yeah. The pharmaceutical companies hide the clinical trials. We don't get the clinical trial results.
No kidding.
I think they should be absolutely relevant, because they hide it because they don't want to have an impact.
You know what though? I've actually noticed that. Like I've noticed like you don't really hear a lot about like what this drug did in trials, right?
Yeah, you don't.
You just like, hey, we finally were allowed to. The FDA said we could release it or something like that.
Right.
Holy cow. That's insane. I'd never even.
So the clinical trials should be released. I mean, that's
a no-brainer.
That's absolutely something that should happen.
Oh my goodness.
And then the side effects that they put on the black box warnings are those that are voluntarily reported to the FDA.
Whoa, really?
There isn't mandatory reporting for side effects with doctors.
Those are, oh my goodness. So like, those are the ones that just people hear about.
Yeah, so like when they say death, that means people have reported and said, hey, this drug killed me.
Holy crap.
Or this drug killed my mom, or this drug killed my brother.
Right. Oh my gosh. Like
that's how it gets on the freaking warning label.
Oh my gosh. Holy cow. That is nuts. I never knew that.
No one knows it.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Well, I wish you all the best luck in that. And I'm going to follow that like a hawk, because
I'll tell you what, when we get it released, I'll send you a copy so you can see it.
Oh my gosh.
Because that's coming pretty quick. But my film guy's fantastic, and he right now he's doing a bunch of rap videos. He's like going to Philadelphia to do a rap video. So it's got that music video vibe to it that's really quite good.
Oh my goodness. Wow. Well, you definitely got to keep me updated on that. And that by itself, we should talk again.
Absolutely. We absolutely need to talk again on that.
Oh my goodness. Holy cow. Cause that's a whole nother episode by itself, because that is so nuts so let me just make sure I got this correct. Cause first of all, I sell like CBD oil, right?
Uh-huh.
And I won't keep you too much longer, but
no. Hey, you're good, Dalton.
All right, deal. But because I sell like CBD and things like that, and it's just amazing that like the FDA won't do any research on that. But then I hear stuff like this with like prescription drugs, where it's like, oh yeah, you just like go for it, right? Like, they told us that, but it's like small percentage, whatever, go ahead. That's nuts, because you have some other stuff that isn't as bad as some of these prescription drugs, and the FDA won't even look at it.
Right. You know why?
Money.
Right. You're getting
Oh, that's so frustrating.
You've got. Yeah, he's right here. You want?
Oh my.
You want to meet my wife?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Come on.
Absolutely.
Not frumpy. He's not frumpy.
Oh my goodness. So
This is my lovely wife.
Hello. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Great. I'm doing great. Having a great time.
Hi, Dalton. Nice to meet you.
It's Dalton, right? I'm freaking out that I got it wrong. But
No. You got it right. Patrick Swayze's character on Roadhouse.
Oh, okay.
House.
There you go.
I'm surprised he knows that movie. It's so old.
Yes. Yes.
And you don't look old.
No.
I could be in this room. There's a weird.
Yeah, he does have the book thing going.
That's right. Holy cow. Well, man, that's so awesome. We're gonna have to talk more about black box warning.
Yes, we will.
Because that's amazing. But
what's that? What's that?
What's a black? Yeah, they don't even know what the black box is.
You know, when you told me that, I was like, holy cow! I had no clue. You know what I mean? You just like hear the side effects from your doctor, but your doctor's like, go ahead and take it, and like, okay, I trust my doctor, right?
I'll tell you, it's rare. It's not going to happen to you, and because you're so desperate for a way to not feel how you're feeling, you go in there. It's not all the doctor's fault. People go in there wanting to find a way out of the pain, and then the
whatever they're
doctors give
doing.
them the easiest way to do that, which is a pill. It's not going to be, look, it took you this long to get here. Let's look up what you're eating. What are you doing for exercise? What are you doing for your mental health? And it's not self-care. They've conflated self-care and pedicures. I was not self-care. That's self-indulgence.
Holy cow. I love that. I love it.
I'm sorry. I said I did a pedicure the other day. Oh, where did you go? I said, I sat my ass down on the bathroom stool. I clipped my toenails. I filed off my calluses, and then I went to work. What did you do?
Yeah, there you go.
So when you do the black box warning thing, you're going to want her on the interview.
Okay.
We'll have all three of us will meet up then, because that'll be fun.
What podcast is this? Because I'm not.
It's.
I don't know anything.
The Thinking Project. Yep. You know.
How are you going to manage right now in this world? It sounds like a self-canceling title.
That's right. That's right. That's probably no. I love it, and you know what it is. I get because I want people to think, right? Like that's why I love talking with. And one thing I find with all the business owners that I meet is just like Kent, right? They have a few more things. They have their main thing, and then one of the reasons I started it was we were just talking about it, right? The black box warning. They have their side gig, and then they have something that they do on the side that they're really passionate about. And so I love finding out the main thing, and then I love finding out the side, thing that they're passionate about.
Well, he's a writer. I mean, first and foremost, he's a writer, and so
I didn't tell you that.
That's why we got married. We got married because we fell in love with each other's words over the internet.
That's great.
So it's like he's a writer, but he also does this lawyer thing to pay the bills, and then he absolutely cares about what he does.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
That part's cool about him.
Wow, that's beautiful. That's perfect. Well, hey, yeah, go ahead, Kent.
Well, no, I mean, I know we're probably at the end, but
sure.
On the bankruptcy end, actually in August they passed a new bankruptcy law that actually opened up Chapter 11s for small businesses, like small business LLCs,
wow.
Small corporations. I've got one client that's going through their Chapter 11 right now. I'm doing the Chapter 13 for the individuals because a lot of times the business owners personally guaranteed everything because that's what they do. But before in Chapter 11, they had this rule where basically the shareholders couldn't keep anything from the business.
Oh, wow.
So Chapter 11 never worked for small individual businesses because why would you go through that whole process and not still own your?
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, seriously.
But with the law change, we can now do Chapter 11s for small businesses. So all these businesses that are getting hit by COVID and are not able to maintain, and the debt load's crushing them.
Yeah.
There are options out there to clear that debt off and keep the business alive and keep it going. And that's probably one of the most exciting things we have going for us to get through this.
But not every attorney knows that, though. Even bankruptcy attorneys.
Yeah.
But to get through it, I'm not going to talk about what other attorneys know.
I love it.
But it says on my script, I'm sorry.
Right.
That's why I brought her in. So
That's right. I love it.
But no, we can do this, and I've got an attorney that does a lot of the Chapter 11 stuff, and I'd probably send them to work with him, and then I would do the consumer side, because you're going to get nailed on the consumer side. I mean, on the individual side too, with the corporate debt, because everybody's personally guaranteed it. No one's giving you a bunch of money for your business without putting you individually on the line.
Yeah.
And we used to do what was called a poor man's Chapter 11, where we would dissolve the business completely and then just file the individual. But now we don't have to do that anymore. We can literally keep the business going, strip off all of the business debt, and wipe out the consumer debt. And it just works really, really. It just works really, really. It's really exciting. We haven't been able to do a lot because the law passed. The law became effective February 20th, and then COVID hit.
Yeah. Oh, gee. Well, very timely law to be passed, right?
Yeah, very timely, but it's something that we're really, I think we're going to be seeing a lot, because I think some of the restaurants, some of the other small businesses that are really struggling because of the debt load.
Yeah. That's wow. No, you're totally right there. So listen, before we leave though, you got to, when you get the black box, when you get the website up, when you got the videos, let me know and then reach back out, because we got to talk about this again. We got to do this again on that.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Holy cow. Because that is something that's really fascinating to me. I'm all about that, these nonprofits and stuff. So, but right before we leave though, give me like your 30-second message to the people out there. What do you want them to know? We connected, we wanted each other to talk to each other. What's your 30-second message? What do you want people to know?
Don't suffer financially. Usually life is too short to be worried. I mean, your kids are only going to be the ages they are once. Your family's only going to be able to, I mean, your money is your time and your life. And I can maybe get some of that back for you just by wiping out some of the debt. I mean, that's really what, and I got to tell you, I hate how I haven't been able to meet with clients because of COVID. Because I can talk to people and say, hey, I can get rid of all your debt. I can, you can't see this on a podcast, but I go poof, and open my head. Abracadabra, gone.
Right.
We can do that. And if you're suffering financially, it doesn't cost anything to talk to me. Actually, the best way to get a hold of me is by text. I love text messaging.
Yeah. Where do people find you? Like your website or your Facebook? What?
I'm on Facebook, the bankruptcy firm. I've got some stupid promo guys that give away free stuff all the time, so you should probably like it.
Yeah.
Free stuff.
That's so sweet.
That's why we have 5,000 fans.
There you go. Hey, that's a great way to do it.
So yeah, the bankruptcy firm on Facebook. Our website is nodownbankruptcy.com.
Okay.
nodownbankruptcy.com. I can send you all the my
Yeah,
comment.
yeah. But that's great.
And really, a lot of our cases, most of our cases, we file with just the filing fee, which is what the court charges, the credit
Yeah.
report fee, which is what the credit bureau charges,
Right.
class fee, because everything's solved by a class, so you'll get to do 2 of them if you file bankruptcy.
Yeah.
They're stupid online classes that are really dumb, but
Yeah.
you have to do them.
Right.
And yeah.
Great. Well, hey, thank you so much, Kent. Thanks for talking with me, and we're gonna do this again for sure when you get the
Absolutely.
black box warning labels out. And it was fascinating to talk with you. Thank you so much for coming on, and I really enjoyed it.
Well, it's been absolutely my pleasure, and I'm looking forward to listening to all of your other podcasts. I haven't got through them all yet. But there's about 20 on there. That's a lot. That's a lot of juice.
Yeah, we're rolling. We're having fun. So it's going to be really fun, and we'll keep rolling. But hey, thank you so much, Kent.
And we didn't even get to talk about the Stoics. I mean, shit.
Oh, yeah, no, that's so crazy. Well, we got to do this again. But yes, did you? Yes, I'm a huge Stoic. I love the philosophy. But we'll do it again. We'll do it again when we talk about the black box warning.
Sounds good.
All right. Thank you so much, Kent.
It was an absolute pleasure.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.